It's Modern Monday, and today we're going to do an installation video for new scales on the Spyderco Shaman. I love this knife. This was a Joker exclusive, and as you can see, this is in CPM Crewwear. Well, these are quite slick, and I don't really like them. So we're going to swap it out for a new set from Rockscale Design. Let's take a look at these. First we get a sticker. They have a new backspacer and screws. And then the new scales. These are titanium scales. So these will improve the grip on the knife substantially and also lighten it up. Just make it a pleasure to use and a pleasure to carry. So let's get started. Now, I had previously removed the original backspacer and I put in these barrels. And that did take quite a bit of weight off the knife, removing the old steel spacer. The new one here from Rockscale Design is a titanium spacer. So we're going to put that one in. All right, we're going to start with T6. So we're going to remove this clip. This is an aftermarket clip. I don't like the stock clip that comes on these either. And I am missing one screw. So that's probably a T8 for that one. Let's see. Yep, T8. That clip will be going back on just with the new screws. So we have these barrels, the screws here. Hopefully I keep everything in frame. It's a little difficult because I don't want to look at the camera. I want to look at what I'm actually doing. Okay, T10 here. Let's see. Get both sides free because these have a D shape inside it on the pivot. All right, we're popped free. Now, one thing that these new scales are supposed to do is a liner delete, so we should be able to get rid of this. And the washer. Now, it's not going to do the liner delete on this side because we need our compression lock. So let's take a look at that. It's going to be that scale, and this one will be the replacement for this one. So how would this liner delete work? We can see the holes there. Looks like everything there lines up. So this should stay with this one, and this should go away. This liner goes right inside of the new scale for a perfect fit. See, there's no indentation in this one for the liner on the other side. See the indentation? You can see the walls around here, and this pops inside. So we should be able to just put the knife back together like this and put these aside. One thing I'm looking, I don't see any D shape in here. How about on this side? And on this side I don't see a D shape either. So that's just going to fit in there, and this pivot is now looks like it's going to be free to spin. There, right here, only on one side is there a D. Right there, that must be it right there. Should pop it. There it is. Well, not 100%, but right there on this liner that gets deleted, that's where the D is. So in here, we have no more D. The washer doesn't fit over the main body of the pivot. The washer fits over the area here where it's turned down. So you have to put the washer on, then install the pivot and put the screw. And when you're doing something on the camera, it's a little harder to pay attention to exactly what you're doing. Okay. Next, we're just going to put a tiny bit, a couple little drops of lube on that washer. Then we can install the knife blade. Let's wipe the pivot area down first. Get it all nice and clean. And then we also put just a little bit of lube on the actual pivot itself before installing the blade. Now we can install the blade. And we have the other washer. So let's put just a little tiny bit of lube right here before we put the other washer on. Now let's open our parts kit. We have a new titanium backspacer, and this is really nice. Very lightweight, not like the one that came with the knife. That steel one was pretty heavy. That's why I took it out and I put those barrels in. And then we have all our screws. Okay, here's our stop pin. So I think we'll install the backspacer on this scale because we can use that to hold this liner in place. Okay, now we should be ready to put the knife back together. I'm going to put a drop of lube on that ball and let's see what happens. Let's try and get this lined up. Alright, let's get a pivot screw back in there. And then the two body screws. Which these are T8s. Well, one nice thing, if I do use the new pivot screws, that will put all the body hardware except for the pocket clip to T8s. So maybe I will do that. But let's see what we have first. Initial check of the centering. Centering looks good. Feels much nicer in hand and much lighter. Let's try switching out to the new pivot screws, because these don't seem like they seat quite all the way. See how that's sticking out? The old ones, the head on it has a different taper. So let's try the new ones out. Yeah, you can see the difference. That fits in there nice. So we definitely have to go with the new pivot screws. We can't use the old ones. that's too tight. This is much nicer. When I go to close the knife and I pinch the sides of the scales and then activate the compression lock, I'm actually able to have a secure grip on the knife. With these scales, it felt like when I go to flick it closed that I'm going to throw the knife. It's going to slip right out of my hands. This works really well. We're still centered, perfectly centered. I love the look of the blacked out blade on the titanium. And I love crew wear. Crew wear is one of my favorite steels. This is going to make me want to carry this knife. With how slippery it was with these original scales, I didn't even want to carry it. It's like carrying something that was oiled. Okay, now let's put the pocket clip on. This is a titanium pocket clip. These scales only let you put the pocket clip on one side for right-handed carry. So let's see what these are. The new screws are T8 hardware. So that is something that is pretty nice. Is this whole knife now is going to be one common T8 fastener for everything on it. That's a pretty welcome change. Because a lot of times you need multiple different bits to take apart a knife. Even though I prefer T10 for the pivot, T8's not bad, and it's improvement over, definitely an improvement over T6 body screws. Okay, let's make sure that's positioned good. Now we can tighten these up. Okay. That's what the knife looks like now. Very nice upgrade. Pretty easy to do. It's nice with that one liner delete. Out of curiosity, let's get a weight on this. Five ounces even. I just looked the Shaman up on Blade HQ, and they have Shamans listed with G10 scales. Obviously not the Joker exclusive like this one, so it's a different color. They're just plain black G10. And the weight is listed as 5.2 ounces. And I'm pretty sure deleting the stock steel backspacer and replacing it with these barrels, I got it down to 4.9 ounces. So titanium being a little bit heavier material than G10, but we also have the liner delete and we have the titanium backspacer. This comes in at exactly 5 ounces. So it's still 0.2 ounces lighter than the original. And it was a noticeable difference. What happened is that little bit of weight, because it was on the end, especially here with this steel backspacer, it changes the balance of the knife. The knife was not balanced. See, it's a little bit tail heavy. It's balanced right here where you would take a normal grip. So that's just about perfect. Okay, 0.2 ounces. So if I find the balance point of the knife and I add this 0.2 ounces to the back, see, it actually tips the knife and falls off. See, it completely changes the balance of the knife. So that weight being deleted from back here gives the knife a proper balance. Balance is right there on my finger, where with the 0.2 ounces, it wants to fall backwards. So that makes the knife better in hand. And you can actually feel the difference. It's surprising. You can feel the difference in just a fraction of an ounce in the weight of a knife. So I'm going to put this knife in my pocket now. And for probably this coming week, it's going to replace my Benchmade 940. We'll carry this knife for the next week or so, and I'll give you a progress report on how I made out with it. We'll see you on the next one.